All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another That Word Chat. This is exciting. This is Grammar Day week, or what we like to call it Grammar Week, National Grammar Week. I don't know, but it's Grammar Day. National Grammar Day is Thursday, March 4th. As you all know, it's it's an imperative March 4th, Forth. It's a complete sentence, the particular date, March 4th, if you spell it wrong, which, maybe that goes against the whole idea of Grammar Day, but it works for us. So our guests today, we have several guests today. We're going to have some interactive things. We've actually added a couple of polls. We're not really sure how to do it, but we're going to give it a shot, get some feedback from you. I always secretly say to the guests, don't look at the chat in the room because it's just too, you guys are too distracting. But today we're going to try to involve the room a little bit. We're going to have we haven't announced this in advance, but we're going to do a flash grammar haiku contest. Later on in the show, we're going to ask you, so if you have pen and paper, now would be a good time to grab it so you're ready to write a grammar haiku later in the show. Let's start out with our first guest, the founder, the creator of National Grammar Day, Martha Brockenbrough. And tell me if I'm pronouncing the name right. And good to see you, Martha.
It's great to be here. It's good to see you. Mark, I don't know that we've ever talked like face to face.
No,
And so
no, no.
this is the boon of this awful pandemic is that we get to do more than just exchange email. So
This is
hello.
true. This is true. Yes. Although I'm probably better typing than I am talking, so I don't know if that's a good thing. But so tell us, what was the motivation? How did this all start? How long ago was National Grammar Day first?
I think the first one was in 2008. And
Okay.
so it's feeling like a kind of a long time ago now. And I'm thrilled that it continues. So here's how it started. At the time, I was writing an educational humor column for the online encyclopedia Encarta.
Mhm.
And I was pretty much allowed to write about whatever I wanted. And so from time to time, I wrote about points of grammar and style, and people always really responded to it. And it made me feel not so alone. I loved language and was wildly curious and had ideas about things, and lots of other people do as well. I was also at the time teaching at a high school. I was the advisor to a school newspaper and the yearbook. And I would occasionally get in small and gentle tussles with my students about, what actually is the way to punctuate boys' baseball team. And so I decided that I wanted to find a more fun way of talking about grammar with them than just red penning and correcting things. And at the time, my husband worked with someone who had just come back from a party where everyone got a remains of the day lunchbox. It was a party that Christopher Guest had thrown. And so this is how they did it in Holland. I just thought that's like the weirdest and most awesome thing in the world is the remains of the day lunchbox. And so I'm like, I'm
Uh,
going to have a grammar lunchbox. And I wanted to have a kind of a secret society. So I called it the Society for the Promotion of Good Grammar, SPOG.
mhm.
Perfect grammar wouldn't have made as good of an acronym. And anyway, we had lunch boxes, had the secret society, and I just started writing about it and blogging, writing strongly worded letters to my students, um, various others, and it took on a life of its own, which is good because I no longer have the energy to keep blowing in its mouth.
Yeah. So and that's cool and it makes sense that it started as a teaching vehicle, as an idea to say, especially to young people. Was this high school or college? Did you
High school, yep.
high school? Yeah. So there are a lot of things to remind them, and this is probably a good vehicle to do that. And the book was so the book came out of was after that. Things that make us sick, SIC, and in the Latin.
You
Uh,
can tell about me that I cannot resist a pun. um,
Yeah.
and puns trump spelling, all else. And so, yeah, the book came out, I believe, in 2009, St. Martin's, and that was
Okay.
lots of fun. And so I had some of the letters that I wrote, a short history of the English language, and some things that I intended to be helpful guides for people who want to make sure that the grammar they use meets the expectations of whatever group they're, whether you're applying for a job,
Hmm.
or, other sort of formal things, because there
Sure.
is a real expectation of what good grammar looks like, even though that might not quite track with history or modern reality.
Right. Or conversation or texting or whatever, but there's a different standard for high school newspapers and other things. And you've been really prolific since you've written a bunch of books. I mean, done children's fiction, nonfiction. Is that
I've,
right?
I've done a little of all. I've done picture books. I
Oh
love
yeah,
language
right.
and I love telling stories. This one, every single word in the book is one syllable.
Ah,
Um, this is a novel, The Game of Love and Death.
you were ready.
One of the characters in it works for a high school newspaper. This is the Brazilian edition. So I've gotten stuff that published around the world. I've done some biography. This is one about
Mm-hmm.
Alexander Hamilton. I believe you can get it at Target. And this is, I would consider the horror genre. But more
Yeah.
specifically, it's also biography. And I do write almost exclusively for young readers. It's the immortal 12-year-old inside of me. Um,
I was going to ask. I wanted to ask you about the unprecedented book. What's the age? This is a biography of the 45th president. We don't say his name that much anymore. You know.
yes, he's become the Voldemort of presidents, so
Yeah.
we don't say it. And so yeah, this I would say is 12 and up, and it works really well for adults who don't necessarily and typically follow politics voraciously. My
Mm.
own thinking about what young people need, is not dumbed down language and concepts, but it's context. And so I provide lots of context. There's a lot of the Trump organization was founded, on things like mortgages and financing. And so I explain what those are for young readers.
Mm.
And that's really the primary difference. I also put this in chronological order, which I believe is why the New Yorker's review of it said that it was an encapsulation of the totalizing awfulness or something they had. That's really great phrase. So it's anyway, light reading for kids 12 and up, but young people are actually really quite engaged in politics. And
Mm.
so, lest anyone has any doubt, if I go into a room full of middle schoolers and show a slideshow of here are my books, they want me to read the Trump one.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure that's not surprising. So you started National Grammar Day in 2008, we think, and then it was probably about 2010. You asked Mignon Fogarty, Grammar Girl, to be the host of the day. What was the story there?
I had long admired her work and her writing, and I knew that she was someone who had a tremendous capability and platform and could help bring it wider. And so I said, "Hey, please come on board."
Yeah.
And I was
So
so excited that you asked.
yeah, well, and it's been certainly that did bring it up, a level. And I remember at the time you asked people generally, let's do some things for National Grammar Day, and I did the poetry, but I don't think I did it the first year. I think Reagan.com did a poetry contest the first year, and I might have done something, some sort of minor little contest on Twitter. I don't remember, but then I think it was the second year we did um, the tweeted haiku contest, and that's now been going on. It's now in its 11th year. It's now we've added ACES as a sponsor. The ACES, the Society for Editing, so it's the And I love I love long titles. It's the ACES National Grammar Day tweeted poetry contest. So, but tell us about the early years of National Grammar Day, Mignon.
Oh, well, I was going to say, I was so excited when Martha asked me to sort of take over the mantle. And I'm so, I don't know, proud of how wonderful her writing has been since then. I think that you told me you wanted to, free up some time to focus on your writing. And so I've watched your progress and been so impressed with what you've been able to accomplish since then. So, congratulations to you. And, yeah, and I don't remember. I know we started doing the haiku contest on Twitter. It's been so long, I don't even remember. But I also remember I was really excited when ACES really got behind that and took on running the haiku contest, and then now more like the limerick and the open poetry contest, because I think people have a lot of fun with that on Twitter.
The thing I tell people about the poetry contest is that it's like received national media attention, usually in the form of, and even a haiku contest.
Yeah, right.
So.
And yeah, I think some of our big wins have been, I was really excited one year when National Grammar Day was the top story at CNN on March 4th. One year.
Must have been a slow year.
I know, right? Definitely was not in the last 5 years. And then we've gotten hashtag Grammar Day to trend nationally on Twitter a couple of times. And I was invited to be on the Today Show twice to promote National Grammar Day on March 4th or 3rd. And Steve Martin has tweeted about it. And my favorite is Funny or Die tweeted something along the lines of trying to celebrate memory on Twitter is like having an AA meeting at Mardi Gras.
Yes.
That is my favorite
that's a great
tweet of all time.
Yeah. So,
but we like to encourage people we like to encourage people to have fun with it and not be, picky on other people's grammar, but to acknowledge the fun that you can have with language. And, people have parties at work and school when we did that, and have use it as an occasion to have a little lesson, or people bake cakes, and, we try to think of all the fun ways you can celebrate.
Right. I've seen the punctuation cookies and things like that. But I did want to talk about that. I mean, I do cringe sometimes watching the Grammar Day hashtag, especially beforehand, because it you can't help but people, throw out their peeves, and, it's the thing with grammar is it's intimidating for a lot of people, and it's also, some people use it as a chance to sort of pick on other people and call people.
That's why we work so hard to try to make it fun.
Yeah. There's
I forgot there was a song too. There's a March 4th Grammar Day song. You and your family were in the video, and some of my other grammar friends from Twitter. So that was a lot of fun too. Yeah.
Right.
Again, we just try to make it as fun as we can.
Yes, that was a blast. We probably have a link for that somewhere. Was somebody?
I just want to say fun is really important. And if you're having fun, you're more likely to write, to speak, to engage. And so, if we can just underscore that on March 4th, that it's really not meant to be unkind or exclusive at all.
Yeah. And I'll put in a plug. In 2 weeks, we're going to have Iva Chung on the show, and I don't know if you've all seen her cartoons, but they're lovely and wonderful cartoons about editing life. And I'm throwing this out now. We didn't talk about this, but I know that Heather will grab a link to her latest cartoon, because it sort of it speaks to that idea of when you put something out there that's editing or grammar related, and then people then use it as an opportunity to sort of talk about their pet peeves. And so Anyway, so we're gonna have her. We'll show that cartoon in a couple of weeks. We'll show some of our other cartoons. Let me jump. I don't want to. We have several things on the agenda. Oh, you know what? We've got polling. We're going to bring in we're going to do some poems in a minute. But first, we have a new thing, new to that word chat. We're trying to figure out this whole polling thing. So we have 2 polls set up. We don't know. I guess we don't know how they work. Maybe we'll get a third one. I don't know. But Heather, are you prepared to toss out the first poll for us? We want to involve the audience and get your thoughts on some of these burning questions of grammar and usage.
As the test group for our polls, don't edit us too harshly.
Well, these were thrown together at the last minute. Oh, there it is. Are you a hyphen putter inner or a hyphen taker outer?
Yeah, ignore that part. That's not relevant to this section. Just skim past it. Focus on the semicolons.
Oh, wait. Oh, what is that?
This is the beta poll. So we're really going to focus on punctuation, on the semicolons, and we'll talk about those hyphens later.
Interesting. We have about 75% pro so far. We'll leave that up for a few seconds. And let me introduce Andy Hollandbeck, who is Andy is the winner of the 2020, the most recent ACES National Grammar Day tweeted poetry contest. We dropped haiku and we made it a poetry contest because we did quatrain last year. We did limerick for 2 or 3 years. This year we've left it open-ended, so there's no telling what kind of stuff we're going to get. But Andy's going to help us judge this year's, and I asked him to come on to read some of his grammar-related poetry.
Hi, everybody.
Hello, Andy.
Hi. All right. Well, let's start with last year's, the one that won me the contest. It was, as you said, quatrains. Mm-hmm. Learn about the semicolon. 'Tis a good thing to invest in. It splits up independent clauses, not half your large intestine. That was fun. I definitely voted pro on the semicolons because, as Mark pointed out in, I think it was Mark in the post about the winners last year, that this is like the third entry I've had about semicolon over the course of all these contests.
Yes, it works. And the first one, you were a runner-up. I don't know if you have that handy. You were a runner-up in the very first contest, 2011. With a semicolon-related haiku. I don't know if you were in second place or if we called it runner-up or what.
I think they were just all honorable mentions. I don't remember.
Yeah,
but
I don't remember.
Yeah, that was haiku back when we only had 144 characters.
Right.
And the haiku was, if you've much to say, a well-placed semicolon can save your big butt. That is, of course, but with one T, the coordinating conjunction, which you can leave out if you use a semicolon.
Brilliant. We're going to ask, and I said we're going to do this flash haiku thing. Anybody, we haven't figured out how we're going to do this, but anybody who wants to participate, we're going to give you, we're going to have Andy read 1 or 2 other poems, but we're going to give you like 5 minutes from this point to write a haiku that is grammar related. You can participate if you want. If you don't have to if you don't want. Once you have the haikus, post your haiku in the chat as soon as you have it done, as soon as you feel it's worthy. And we have empaneled some judges. They're in a secret back room. They're going to stay anonymous. We're not going to tell you who they are to protect their own safety. And the integrity of the contest, because the prize is a fabulous That Word Chat. Let's have a word chat mug. So everybody's going to want that. So we got 5 minutes. Write a haiku. Andy, you can't participate. Sorry. And then Mary asked for a brief review of haiku rules. Sure. Haiku, and we're going to be very loose on it. We're not going to go with strictly with the the Japanese sense, which isn't, exactly, they don't exactly count syllables in the traditional. But we're going to go with what you learned in school, the 5-syllable, 7-syllable, 5-syllable. And if it's a little off, but it sounds right, nobody's going to judge you too harshly. Well, I don't know. The people in the back room might judge you harshly. Who knows? So you now have, I don't know, I think you now have 4 minutes, but write a haiku, post it in the chat, and in a few minutes after the time's up, our secret panel of judges will judge it, and we may ask for 2 or 3 people to read their poems in the room, on video, on sound, and then we'll pick a final winner. So, okay. So, and then, all right, so the poll, we'll take this poll away. Oh, you know what? I don't know if anybody can see the poll. I can see the poll, but you guys probably can't. So I'm going to share the results of the poll. Are you a hyphen putter inner or a hyphen? No. Are you pro semicolon or anti semicolon? And there's the result. 76% are pro. 14% of you said meh, not very useful. And 10% said only when I'm being mischievous in a text. So 75% pro. Andy, what else do you have for us?
Sure. One year we did limericks, which I just love doing limericks. And this was one of my favorite entries of my own because it breaks the style. And especially among editors, Strunk and White can be a difficult point. We all have a love-hate relationship with Strunk and White, so it harks back to that. It goes like this. Omit needless words, says old Strunk to his students, or else you will flunk. With your limericks, he pines, you can do with 4 lines.
Very nice. Not a limerick, but but the judges thought that was a pretty good.
It's a broken limerick.
Pretty good attempt, yes. So, one more? Do you have another one for us?
Well, I got 2 quick haikus.
2, okay.
I also like, I like puns like Martha said, but I also like portmanteaus. So here are 2 quick ones, both haikus. When recalling the dead, all pronouns should have clear antecedents. And the other one, going back to the semicolon, to fight legalese, semicolonoscopy is recommended.
Yes, back to the stomach related,
Yes.
Digestion related grammar poetry. Excellent stuff. All right, we've got I see a few entries in there. We got maybe a couple of minutes to go, and while we wait, why don't we ask our guests what their plans are? National Grammar Day is Thursday. Not today, but we do the show on Tuesday, so we're getting a running start. What are your plans for celebrating National Grammar Day, Andy?
Well, at the Saturday Evening Post, I write a weekly column about word histories and etymology. And since Grammar Day, and I post it on Thursdays, and since Grammar Day is on a Thursday this year, I'm going to do a short history of the word grammar and how it relates to dark magic. Oh,
excellent. I've seen a little bit about that. That should be great. I forgot to, I didn't really introduce you. I know you. I just said, here's Andy, winner of the contest, which is the main thing you're known as, I suppose. But Andy is managing editor and copy editor at the Saturday Evening Post, and you mentioned it's a 200-year-old publication this year.
This is our bicentennial.
Yeah, that's exciting. All right. And Martha, what are your plans for National Grammar Day on Thursday?
Well, I will be knocking back a grammargarita, which is the new official drink of National Grammar Day.
We're officially making it officially. It's no longer the Gram Martini. It's
no longer. I figure after a decade plus, we need a new cocktail. And I'm going to be teaching an online webinar on how to get see the big picture through the trees of all the facts when you're writing nonfiction.
Oh, excellent! Where's the webinar going to be?
That's through the Writing Barn. which is an Austin-based writing program, and I'm really looking forward to teaching there.
Yeah, excellent. That's really cool. And Mignon, Grammar Girl, what are your Thursday plans?
Yeah, well, my podcast comes out on Thursday, so I'm doing a special episode. I'm going to talk about the history of National Grammar Day, actually, and then go through a lot of my favorites that I use when putting together the podcast. So it's sort of a, here's how I do it behind the scenes look. And then all day I'll be retweeting other people's stuff on Twitter because I like to promote other people's work. So I'll be retweeting a lot of the entrants to the poetry contest and blog posts and things like that. And then I'm also, I've been doing LinkedIn learning courses, writing courses this last year. And I'm going to make the first course free to anyone who wants to access it for 24 hours on March 4th to celebrate National Grammar Day. So you can check for my post on LinkedIn to access that course free.
Yeah, excellent. This is a lot of excellent stuff happening. And you're you have the winning poem on the show. Are you gonna try to get it for Thursday or?
I don't think you guys will have picked it by the time I record for this week. So I will have it probably in next week's show. We will have the winning poem will be read in the Grammar Girl podcast. Right,
of course. We won't announce it till Thursday. So the deadline for the contest on Twitter is Wednesday at noon, tomorrow at noon. And then again, all the judges now they're public. We know who they are. So if you want to bribe them or threaten them, we don't have any rules against that, frankly. That's fine. But they will be getting together socially distanced and hashing out who is the winner, which we'll announce. We announce it around Thursday. We usually announce it around noon on Eastern on Grammar Day on Twitter and on the ACES website, aceseditors.org. So we have some finalists for the poetry contest. I think the judges are still probably having people sign legal documents and things like that. So we'll move to that in just a minute. And let's do, and I don't know if I was going to say, can we do the next poll? But Heather's busy doing the other thing. And when I go to the polls, I just see the first poll. How do I do the second poll?
I've got some magic. We can poll if we'd like.
Okay. Do you know how to do it?
Let's find out. Ready?
Yeah. Okay. Oh, excellent. It worked.
Producer magic.
Done. Yes. Yeah. She has all the power. So people are jumping right in that one. Hyphen put her in her or hyphen take her outer. I never asked Martha and Mignon about semicolons. What's your view on the semicolon?
I love a semicolon, although I was just reading a nonfiction book called, it's something about the rules of what make a best-selling novel, and best-selling novels don't have semicolons.
Really?
I've seen that too. Yeah. I like the semicolon too, but I think that it's better I was going to say it's better in fiction than in, technical writing or journalism, because in those, you want to keep your writing really simple and clear, and that usually means using shorter sentences, which usually means not using semicolons. But if I'm reading a literary novel, I want to see some semicolons. But I did see that study that says that bestsellers don't have semicolons. So maybe it's not true for at least best-selling fiction either.
Yeah, interesting. I don't know. Maybe there's not a real cause and effect there, but.
Well, I think I've read that best-selling fiction tends to be written at a lower grade level than maybe other types of fiction. And again, that would mean simpler language, which would mean fewer semicolons.
Yes.
I also think it's the urgency that semicolons are not a particularly urgent form of punctuation. And you get a little more heightened emotional ride with urgent prose. Karen asked if I use semicolons when writing for young readers. I do in the longer books, not so much in the picture books, but there is a picture book that has a semicolon. good night construction site.
And is it deliberately there for its use, or
No, it's
I
just
mean,
it's part of the
just
music of the book.
it just
Um,
happens to fit? That's excellent. Okay,
it
and it's
happens to fit.
wonderful that you knew that you were aware of where to find it.
My job.
All right, I believe Heather has our finalists for the poetry contest, our first ever That Word Chat poetry contest.
Yes, our top three, we have Pam, Carol, and Graham. So Pam, do you want to unmute and read yours first? And then we'll do Carol and then Graham.
Thank you. Inconceivable. E before I clearly rules. Named it my business.
Did it? You named it your business?
E before I editing.
Oh, E before I editing. Yes, excellent. All right, that's number one. I guess we're going to vote somehow, maybe by applause at the end. I don't know. Let's see.
Perfect. Next up, Carol, do you want to read yours?
Oh dear.
They're gone now. This happened to me about a half an hour before this group. I'm so sorry.
We can play the should we play the theme song and calm them down?
No, they don't think dinner's going to be ready.
Oh, okay.
What makes me so sick is being told to use a effing asterisk.
All right. Excellent.
And third, we have Graham. Graham, whenever you're ready, unmute and you can read your haiku.
I should clarify that I come to this from the newspaper business. So the Oxford comma is a popular item, but I don't use it.
That's lovely. All right, so is that the three, Heather?
Those are our three, and we have poll results up for our hyphen preferences.
Okay.
I'm a little surprised no one commented on our poll question hyphenation and our answer hyphenation.
Well, you did.
That's because you love us, I'm sure. And 70% of people are hyphen putter inners, and 30 are hyphen taker outers.
Interesting. You know, it's been my experience. I told people this, that I've like Graham, my background's in newspapers, and there were newspapers where the culture was to put in hyphens, and newspapers where the culture was to take out hyphens. So there is definitely that sort of struggle going on all the time in houses where one edits. And of course, AP style book has a little bit of a changing of the guard and went to more of an anti-hyphen stance when they used to be more pro-hyphen, which they've backed off a little bit from that. So this is a great continuing struggle that we can all embrace and deal with and still be friends at the end of the day, hopefully. So how should we do the judging here? Should we do thumbs up, show of hands? Should we create a quick poll, or should we could just probably go to like gallery view and have everybody do this for the one they want?
I love it. I think that's a solid plan.
All right. Do you have the poems? Maybe you could. Maybe Heather, you could. I'm changing to gallery view so I can see everybody. Heather, why don't you read the first poem again, or maybe read. Can we read all three of the poems again, and then we'll say 1, 2, 3? Okay.
Absolutely, Pam. Inconceivable. I before E clearly rules. Named it my business. Carol. What makes me quite sick is being told to use an effing asterisk. And Graham, the Oxford comma is a popular item, but I don't use it.
Okay, I love all three of those would be finalists in the contest. Those are great. All right, so we can't see everybody at once because of the screen thing, right? All right, people on the first screen are the ones who get to judge. Is that how we do it? Yeah, most people you people have your videos off. Sorry, we're not going to be able to include you. So on the first screen, turn on your videos if you can. And how many people vote for number 1 as our winner? All right, I see a couple. All right, at least 3-ish. All right. How many people vote for number 2 as our winner? Oh, yeah. There's a lot for 2 because it's got swearing in it, right? All right. And then number 3. How many people number 3? Couple there. Well, I think it's pretty clear that number 2, it was Pam, right? No, I'm sorry. It was Carol. Carol, yes.
Carol.
All right, Carol.
Winning haiku in our chat.
All right, beautiful. You got a that word chat mug coming. So the contest, now there's no restriction on taking those poems and entering them in the contest. Just tweet them with the hashtag Grammar Day, and you could win again. You know, who knows? So one other thing that's going on. So we got Wednesday we're going to announce the winner of the poetry contest. No, sorry, Thursday. The deadline is Wednesday. Today we got this show Wednesday, and I don't know if Ellen Jovin made the show, but Ellen, if you're here, maybe you could unmute a little bit because Ellen's going to do the weekly ACEs or the biweekly ACEs Twitter chat, and it's going to be much like this, a grammar party, right? Ellen,
right.
Yes.
I'm here.
What are you planning? What are you going to do for us?
Well, I can't tell you that.
What are you going to give? We're not going to tell anybody. The captive group.
Well, I prepared my advanced questions, which connect grammar questions to, popular culture and stuff like that. And I think they're kind of fun and whimsical. And mostly I'll just blather along with people as they like, as I usually do.
Yeah. Okay. That'll be great. You've changed your hair. Is this?
It's called not having a haircut in 375 days.
Yeah. Excellent. My wife cut my hair before the show.
It looks amazing. I've thought of doing the same things. I have all the equipment, so by tomorrow it could happen.
Yeah, my daughter did it.
Really?
Actually, yeah, just took most of it off. Yeah. So how are you celebrating the actual National Grammar Day on Thursday?
I tend to schedule classes with my clients for grammar on Thursday. I found it to be an excellent marketing opportunity. So thank you for that. Martha, works out great for me. I'm like, do you know that there's a grammar day coming up? This would be a perfect opportunity. So I'll be teaching.
Oh, all right, cool. I have a question for Martha. Now we changed the official drink from the Grammartini to the I have a really hard time saying that. Grammargarita. Help me out.
It's the Grammargarita.
Grammargarita. Okay, Grammargarita. I'll just have to get used to saying that. Grammartini seems to flow a little bit more easily. No, anyway, my question is, so we did the National Grammar Day. The very first year, we did the contest. Very first year, our winner was from Canada. And then we've had winners and entries from all over the world. We had, I think our winner one year was an American living in Budapest. So it was, so is it really, are we limiting ourselves by calling it National Grammar Day?
If I had thought of calling it International Grammar Day from the start, I would have, because consider the marketing opportunities, how we would have made it a global sales phenomenon, which was always the goal. I welcome on board. But if you really want to get into some bitter fights with people, it's, Canadian and British spelling versus American spelling.
Mm-hmm.
It's worse than Twizzlers versus Red Vines. And it's, do we need more fighting?
Well, no, probably not. I always think of the Canadians, I always think are really sort of just go along with whatever, they feel like, right? I mean, there's sort of a mix between American and British English. I mean, if there are Canadians, argue with me, but that's healthcare. You're more relaxed. You're less stressed. You just go with whatever the wind, whichever way the wind is blowing. All right. I don't know if we have any. I saw some questions in the room. I don't know if we've answered questions from people in the room, but I mean, I've run out of things to talk about, so we can just have general grammar discussion. But were there any questions, Heather?
We have a question from Karen about Martha's books, our very own Karen Wise.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Karen. What's the question?
I think you already answered it. That was about asking whether you use semicolons when you're writing, like in that 45th president biography, for instance. Would there be a semicolon in there for readers 12 and up?
There might be in there, and I can get more granular in that answer. I would never have a semicolon in any sort of climactic fight scene.
Were there a lot of those in that book?
It's all gone. Oh yeah, that book. Anyway, I sometimes when I write pure fiction, then yes, and there might be some fight scenes. There's some kissing, and so I would be much more likely to have a semicolon in a kissing scene, isn't it? Instead of a copulative conjunction. I don't know, but definitely not in any sort of climax, because it's way too muted of a feel.
I've heard it said that, and I strongly disagree with this. I've seen this in discussions. People say you never use semicolons in dialogue because people don't speak in semicolons. Well, to me, the punctuation simply reflects the way people are speaking, and people do speak in semicolons. People do have short pauses rather than sentence-ending pauses. So we don't have a poll for that, but I've given my opinion on it. Sorry, I want to ask. Yes.
I would like to hear about Martha's forthcoming book, Into the Blood Red Woods. The cover is gorgeous, and I would love to hear more about it.
The cover's scary, isn't it?
It is a scary cover. That character is Ursula. She is a werebear, and also the heir to a queendom that is stolen from her, and she's pretty angry about it. And this book, again, it's a young adult novel, and I take a lot of classic fairy tales and subvert them. So, for example, the Pied Piper ends up being a character in the book, not male, so she's female, and instead of stealing children is much more about rescuing children. One of the things that I wanted to say, with this novel, in addition to telling a good and scary story, is that a lot of times people in power will tell a false story, and it becomes told so many times that we believe that to be true. And so this is really a book about questioning what we've been told. And you could apply that to rules of grammar. You could apply that certainly to the political system. And that is, for me, really fun to get kids thinking about, wait a minute, people are lying to me in order to regain power. And so that's what that one's about. It comes out in November.
Oh, excellent. Congratulations. How many books is this? A dozen?
Oh, I think there are even more than that. I think there are 14 out, and I have another 6 on the way. And I'm writing writing all the time. I've got a nonfiction book about artificial intelligence coming out, and that is where the study of the semicolon in best-selling novels. There are some researchers at Stanford who have ingested the text of lots of bestsellers, and they have software that predicts whether something will be or won't be a bestseller. And the presence of semicolons is an indication of something that's not going to be necessarily popular. And I don't want to say that best-selling novels are the only good ones or the best ones. It's just, you know, when you're talking about that particular list kept by the New York Times and the numbers of people who get a book, I mean, you know, we all might love books that have many semicolons in them. And yeah.
Right. Yeah, there are some semicolons in history that, but yeah, it's interesting and a little scary, the whole idea of like judging a book by something that may, you know, not hold true in the future, but has been the case in the recent past. Speaking of books, I forgot to ask Andy about his book. Andy's got a book. I don't have a book. I've got to get a book. Martha's got 20 books. Very impressive. But let me ask, I want to ask the room also how everybody is selling. If anybody's doing anything special for Grammar Day. Often, I think one thing you see a lot of is people in classes. When classes are together, there are activities around it, and maybe there's not so much of that going on this year. But if anybody has any special things they're doing for Grammar Day, let us know. Speak up. We'd like to hear from you. Andy's got a book. Tell us about your book, Andy.
All right. Excuse me. I've self-published this through Kindle Direct Publishing. You can get it on Amazon. It's called The Body Politic, A Parable for the 21st Century. It's actually 3 short stories. It's a 12,000 word, a 6,000 word, and a 3,000 word story. The main story, I wanted to get this out when the pandemic hit, and it was the end of, because there are certain elements in the story. The main story is about a pandemic of spontaneous amputation. It sounds horrible. And there are some barely veiled references to the 45th president in the book. So I figured if I was ever going to get this out, it had to be in 2020. So yeah, I'm really proud of these stories to get them out. Actually, one of the things I'm really proud, I really love the cover on this. I don't know if you can see it well. When we got our first, well, yeah, I guess it was a first. We only had 2. Pandemic checks from the federal government. The first thing I did was went out and I commissioned the cover for this book from a local artist. So I was glad to give them some work. But yeah, like I said, it's on Amazon if you want to get it. It's only, I think, $8 is what I have it at.
Oh, okay. Yes, I don't have it. I'll have to add it to the collection. And I remember Mignon, I asked you a few years ago. I don't remember what the venue was about books, and you said you were at that point pretty much ready to not write a new book because you have, you've got all these books on my shelf.
Yeah.
Is anything in the works?
No, I mean I've written 7 books about language now, and I keep waiting for inspiration to hit me. It's been, I think, 6 years since I've written anything, and right now there's just nothing I feel. Writing a book is an enormous amount of work, and so I really feel like if I were going to write something, I'd have to feel passionately about it, and there's nothing. I mean, I've said what I need to say at this point. There might be a book in the future, but I'd really have to feel it before I'd commit to one. I guess I've been thinking about making a workbook to go with the Ultimate Writing Guide. I think that makes a lot of sense, but it's not like a whole new book.
Right. Yeah. Whoops. Oh. Drop my.
Yeah, because it's like for students, the Ultimate Writing Guide for students, and teachers often ask me if I have printable quizzes and things like that. So I think that there could be a demand for a workbook to go with that, and it seems sort of a practical thing that makes sense. But when I think about writing a book, I think about like a new individual entity,
right.
And that doesn't feel like that. But I guess it would be another book.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it'd be a book. It'd be something. Yeah.
Okay.
It counts. But, yeah, I know. But I understand what you say. To start something from scratch is a pretty big undertaking. I'm waiting for... Actually, Andy's written so much. I haven't mentioned this, but if you're not familiar with Andy's work, he wrote blog entries for copy editing, and now he does it for the Saturday Evening Post on words and usage and interesting sort of tidbits and facts about where words come from and stuff like that. Of course, Mignon, we know, is prolific also just right as her blog, Grammar Girl. So, anybody doing anything special for Grammar Day on Thursday? International Grammar Day, or maybe just Grammar Day. Karen says she plans to edit all day and play with her friends on Twitter as usual. This is a good activity. So what else should we talk about? Do we still have time? Yeah, we have 6 more minutes. The dash. Oh, Heather, tell us about it was fun. Tell us about the dash.
This is from editor James Frawley, and it is absolutely one of the most fun things I've seen lately. I can pull up the actual tweet about it, but basically misspeaking the M dash to be the dash, and it could be a piece of punctuation that means verbal hesitancy, and I love it. I would love for this to be an actual thing out in the world, and I'll put the tweet, his original tweet, up in the chat so everybody can see it.
Yeah. We would need to. Would we need a punctuation though? We've got the name for it, but we would probably need to devise a mark.
I did put forth a suggestion if it is well received, unless someone has a better option. This was a very late night Twitter, OMG, I love this sort of tweet.
Oh, okay. I missed that one. Martha has offered a tilde which makes sense. It's sort of M dash spaced. Ellen says a small cat. I have no idea what that means. An M dash with ellipsis below it, Karen says. To indicate the dash. Yes, but why? What do you mean a small cat? Don't type it.
I'm sorry, I had to find my pad. Well, it just reminded me of some of the memes with the cats in them, so I thought we could just borrow one of them.
Oh.
I mean, it would liven up the prose. People love cats.
That's true, but you would have to draw the cat then as your...
Yes, but it could be stylized. It could be stylized. I'm not full of practical suggestions. That's not my arena.
There are a lot of great suggestions in the chat of various... Oh, and there you go. Is that Kate, everyone? A little cat with the whisker, with the ears and the eyes, but the dash. I don't know how in this group we always end up moving on to cats at some point in the show. All right, well, I think we've covered all the bases. Again, we've got the ACES chat tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern with Ellen Jovin of Grammar Table, who I also did not introduce. Ellen is the genius behind Grammar Table in the pre-pandemic days. You may remember she took her table out and answered people's questions about grammar on the street and was not mugged or accosted, but was actually well received in doing that. And she'll be doing the ACES chat tomorrow. Follow the hashtag ACES CHAT ACES chat at 4 p.m. tomorrow. That should be a fun party. And then also tomorrow at noon is the deadline for the contest, the poetry contest. Those of you who submitted haiku today, you should probably enter those in the contest using the hashtag Grammar Day. And then on Thursday is National Grammar Day, the big celebration. I think we should all take a day off work. I'm not sure how that will go because I do have deadlines, but certainly feel free to drink your grammargarita. Martha?
I think you've had enough, Mark.
All right. Grammargarita on Thursday. Start the day with it. Keep an eye on. Oh, and Mignon, what's the? We should give him the. I don't know if do we give the link to the official.
Yeah,
Grammar Day?
it's nationalgrammarday.com, and right after
Okay.
this, I'm going to go update the website and talk about the historic significance of the Grammar Martini, and the new Grammargarita is now the official drink. So I will be doing
Yes.
that within the hour.
Right. Wow, it happened right here on that word chat. That's very exciting stuff. All right. Thanks everybody for coming. In 2 weeks we'll have Iva. We'll talk about her wonderful cartoons, editing related cartoons, and a whole bunch of other things. If you don't follow her on Twitter, follow her. I think it's at Iva Chung, CheungCheung, I believe. And she's got a great Twitter feed, and she'll be here in 2 weeks to talk to us. So thank you very much. Go out, celebrate National Grammar Day without peeving, but being helpful and encouraging people in good grammar. And thank you for coming. Thank you, Martha. Thank you, Mignon. Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Ellen. Thank you for the poll results. Maybe we'll do that next time. We'll come up with some other poll things. So thanks very much, everybody. See you in 2 weeks.